Colorado election officials say that they've stopped a scheme to cast fraudulent votes in Mesa County, one of the most conservative regions in the state. Election workers discovered the scheme during the signature verification process, and out of a dozen ballots that were submitted, 3 made it through and entered into the state's official count. Police have no suspects in the case, which means that the person or group behind it, well, they're still at large. Many of the details in this case are not yet available, but it appears that the person or group who intercepted the ballots possibly did so from mailboxes or somewhere else further up in the stream. They forged the signatures and then filed them on behalf of local voters. The way elections work here in Colorado is that ballots are set out in batches by neighborhood, and then you sign your ballot, this is mine, here on the back. When the automated system detected the first few fake signatures based on prior signatures that were already on file with the state, election officials could locate the individual voters and go figure out what had happened. To quote the online newspaper, the Colorado Sun, once signatures are checked, the ballot is pulled independently from the envelope that it's put into during the counting process. That was Secretary of State Jenna Griswold. In other words, once a ballot is entered into the tabulation process, it's anonymous and can't be linked back to the envelope that it came in. This is why those 3 votes made it through, and election officials are scrambling to ensure trust in the election process. To quote the article again, the team in Mesa County is re-examining every ballot return envelope that has been received at this point, adding that she couldn't definitively say if other fraudulent ballots were cast in Mesa County that haven't yet been discovered. Now, 3 fraudulent ballots are not going to sway an election. Trump won Mesa County in 2020 by a whopping 62% margin out of 91,000 votes. Meanwhile, Colorado, the state, went 54% for Biden overall and is predicted to be a safe state for Harris in 2024. Those are the facts at this point. But allow me to step back for a second and put this into a larger perspective. Mesa County is a sore spot in Colorado's election process. After Donald Trump falsely claimed that the election had been stolen from him, the former Mesa County clerk named Tina Peters broke into a secured area for voting machines and leaked data to Republican operatives in order to discredit the state's voting process. She was sentenced to 9 years in jail in October of this year. The purpose of this scheme this week was not to flip the election, but to instead cast doubt on the integrity of the election overall. Given the deeply red history of the county, it's likely that it was being carried out by someone who believes that the vote is already rigged, and it's simply fair game to participate in rigging it some more. If I were a betting man, I would put my money on the fact that the perpetrator is a Trump supporter. In 2020, Trump spread doubt about election results and stood passively by as a crowd of his supporters stormed the vote certification process in the Senate on January 6th. And he even asked Georgia's Secretary of State to, quote, find 11,780 votes in order to flip the state in his favor. There's even audio of that phone call.
All I want to do is this. I just want to find 11,780 votes, which is one more than we have.
If the election doesn't go his way this year, he will almost definitely deploy the same tactics again. And this is a bigger problem in 2024 than it was in 2020, because our collective faith in a fair and impartial government has been shaken to its core by corrupt politics and disingenuous actors. Trump's baseless claims that the election was illegitimate has resulted in people or groups actually attempting to cook the books in this election. And let's be real, the national election is rigged already. Kamala Harris will win the popular vote, just like Hillary Clinton and every other Democratic presidential candidate since 2004. The Electoral College setup means that Democrats need to win by a wide majority, while Republican candidates have a much lower bar. This mismatch means that Republican votes are worth more when it comes to national elections. It also means that voters in low population states have more representation in the Senate than ones who hail from densely populated ones. And that's just the way the system is constructed. Everyone agrees. But frankly, it doesn't feel fair. So what happens when Trump says on his campaign stops that after this election, his voters won't have to get out and vote anymore?
And again, Christians, get out and vote just this time. You won't have to do it anymore. 4 more years, you know what? It'll be fixed. It'll be fine. You won't have to vote anymore, my beautiful Christians. I love you, Christians. I'm a Christian.
Does he want to fix the election? Does he want to fix all elections? And let's just dwell on that last point for a second. He says he's a Christian, but what about his actions or values mirrors anything about the good things in Christianity? Is he just lying about his beliefs to get votes? Is this yet another disingenuous part of his personality? Trump's rhetoric mirrors that of despots all over the world. Trump doesn't believe in the values of free and fair elections. He just wants power. Like every other dictator, he frequently and repeatedly says that he wants to lock up the political opposition. Over the course of history, and including the history of this country, people have attempted to rig elections. They've stuffed ballot boxes and forged their way to power. And so what happens if more evidence comes out that Trump or his supporters are actively trying to rig the vote this year? What if more than just 3 fraudulent ballots make it through into the official counts? Once trust is lost in an electoral process, it's very hard to get it back. No matter how you vote this year, realize that this is the most important election on the future of democracy in our lifetime. Realize that we are on the precipice of history. I have more thoughts on this on my back channel in a related video where I ask, can America even survive this election? I would love you to check it out, and I'll put a link down in the pinned comment at the top of the comment section down below. I also have a new video coming out in my Liars, Cheaters, and Charlatans of the Griftoverse series that will be out on Friday. And I want you to go check it out. It's already available on my Substack. Until then, from PokeyBear LLC in Denver, Colorado, this was Scott Carney Investigates.